If you are beyond ready for your YouTube brand to take off to that next level that you know it's capable of, this is what you need to realize. It doesn't take perfect SEO. It doesn't take perfect lighting, the best audio, the best camera, fancy editing, looking pretty and attractive, following the perfect script, posting for years, crossing your fingers, hoping, hiring VAs, agencies, a huge budget, a large team, copying what everyone else is doing, viral content, sacrificing your authenticity, overcomplicating your content strategy, or waiting for the perfect moment to start. Do these things help? Of course they can. Can you get your first initial traction that way? Yes, but you can have all of them, and things still may not take off the way that you want them to. So the question remains, what does it really take? And here is the golden strategy. You ready for it? You have to get leverage. That is it. You need to find something to leverage that will stimulate your growth, because here's a reality check. The online world is crowded and noisy, and to really take off, you have to stand out in the sense that you're willing to do what others in your niche are not willing to do. And that takes discomfort, and that's why a lot of people don't grow. But man, your wildest hopes and dreams lie on the other side of that. So let's have a brainstorming session. The best commenter to add something to my list here will win a free 30-minute YouTube business strategy session with me. One thing that you can leverage is going live, especially you entrepreneurs who want to turn your viewers into buyers. So I really encourage you to think outside the box and to get creative. What can you funnel people into in a live stream setting? Maybe that's a Q&A. Many of you know that I do free live channel reviews. So what's something that you can review? What's something that you can critique in your niche, and how can you funnel people into your next level paid products and services? Another thing that you can do is you can get a certain brand or organization to promote you. So for example, I actually had Kajabi promote my free live channel reviews to their audience because that's something that can benefit a lot of people who use Kajabi. And so think of your niche. What is an organization that you can maybe utilize? Maybe you're part of some type of community, or maybe you can do some type of live Q&A session that will benefit the audience or the clients of another brand. So really think outside the box here, because maybe they have an email list that you can tap into. You see how you can get leverage from that, everyone? Another thing that you can do to get leverage is to brand by association. It's funny because a lot of times, especially us entrepreneurs, to us things seem ordinary, but to others, they're extraordinary. So for example, for the longest time, I wasn't talking about how I was an intern for TEDx. I wasn't even talking about how I spent $10,000 to get mentored by Tony Robbins. And so you see when I mention that, it's branding by association. And so what's maybe a brand or, some other influencer that you can leverage and you can associate your brand with? And that can be, in the sense that you worked with them. But another thing that I like to do is I like to interview people in my niche. So I did an in-person interview with Gary Vaynerchuk, also Ty Lopez. I was with him in person. And so when you do that, those names have keywords in YouTube search, and you can really leverage that to appear in search results and to also get recommended on other people's YouTube feeds. Also think, how else can you cross-pollinate on YouTube? Maybe you know of someone in your niche with a really big podcast, or you know of someone with a big podcast, and all it takes is a simple reach out saying, hey, Mr. Podcaster, this is the value that I can bring to your audience. This is what I have to bring to the table, and you have to talk. With their benefits in mind. If you say, "Oh, can you help me grow my audience?" It's like, no, you have to talk in their interests, and they're more likely to say yes if you do it that way. Maybe you can collaborate with someone in your niche, and you can do a video, and you can cross-pollinate audiences. But another thing that you can do, this is something that I did. You can also work with a client, get them an amazing result, and if they have their own following, you can get them to talk about it on their platform. So for example, my client Dominique, I helped her make $10,000 in 3 weeks, and she was so excited by that. And we actually did a podcast together, and I asked her, do you mind sharing this with your Instagram audience? Because she had over 100,000 people on there, and then she had an email list, and then boom, that helped me grow organically, literally overnight. So maybe that's something that you can do with a client who has a bigger audience. And even if you're not in the niche of social media and branding, a lot of people nowadays do have big audiences. So it's just something that you can tap into. Another thing that you can do to get leverage is you can review a certain product or service in your niche, especially if there's not a lot of reviews on there, because think about it. Why do people come to YouTube? A lot of times they're researching something, and so those people, especially if you're treating your channel like a business, they're in buying mode. And so what you can do is you can review these other products, and always do so in a, in a fair way, in a real way. And it's good to leave honest reviews, but what you can also do is talk about your expertise and your own paid product or service as well. And the cool thing about that is you can actually appear in Google search as well. So I actually have a few different products that are appearing towards the top of Google when you type them in. One other thing that you can leverage is in-person communities. I actually have one client, and she is part of an in-person community all about her niche. And so, I encouraged her, share your YouTube channel with all of them. What I like to do is on my phone, on my lock screen, I have a QR code. And when I meet people in person, they can simply scan that. And when they do, then it opens them up to a page, and they can click on my YouTube channel and subscribe that way. And that works as well, with other social media platforms, but that's really cool to have. And another gentleman who I met at an in-person event, he scanned the QR code, but he was also he had a YouTube channel, and he was like, I'm about to do a speaking gig in a couple weeks. And he was like, how should I grow my YouTube? And the audience at that speaking gig was perfectly in alignment with his YouTube channel. So I told him, tell the audience at the end to subscribe to your YouTube if they would like to learn more about your niche. And so he was like, oh, that's a great idea. And so when you're doing that, everyone, just make sure that the audience is in alignment, because you don't want to bring people over to your channel who aren't your target audience, because that can actually harm your videos and your channel, because YouTube is going to recommend them your videos, and then it can actually decrease your click-through rate if it's not in alignment with their interests. So be careful with that one. Make sure it's in alignment. And then another thing that you can leverage is online communities. So if you are part of a mastermind group, you can talk about your YouTube channel. If you are part of any Facebook groups, maybe you're part of some Reddit communities. And the same thing applies. Just make sure that the audience is in alignment. And then the last thing that you can leverage is paid advertising. And I've seen people do this. I know, for example, Ty Lopez, I went to one of his events, and he was saying, that's how he got his initial traction, was he had a YouTube ad that really took off, and then people followed his YouTube, and they followed his organic content. So that's something that you can do as well. And so leave a comment down below. What else can you leverage? Really think outside the box here. And it's cool because when you tap into getting leverage, once you get that initial traction, then it's like, boom, you start to take off, and then everything starts to follow after. So it's really exciting. So I hope you found this video valuable. If you would like more information about working with me and how I can help you to grow your YouTube and your business by turning viewers into buyers, then there is an application down below that you can fill out, and I'm more than happy to continue the conversation with you about how we can make your goals and dreams a reality. So thank you everyone for watching, and I will see you for the next video.